They noticed the change gradually, like how you notice a ripple on calm water, not with alarm but with quiet hesitation. A misplaced word, a pause where a sentence should have landed, keys no longer in their usual spot, small interruptions in a life that usually moved with steady rhythm. At first, everyone smiled it off, attributing it to busyness, exhaustion, or just the scattered effect of a fast-paced life. But when these small moments began to linger, when energy dipped and evenings ended in silence instead of the usual cheer, the house itself seemed to pause, holding space for a question no one had yet dared to ask aloud. When laughter grew quiet, what started as simple forgetfulness soon took on a different weight. Appetite faded, meals were left half-eaten, and rest no longer offered the comfort it once had. The rooms that were once filled with light, energy, and laughter now grew quieter, more deliberate, as if everyone was measuring joy more carefully. Laughter, once a natural part of the day, became something intentional, not automatic. The people who loved each other most could feel the shift before they could even name it. They watched with a quiet vigilance which, though soft, deepened their connection and understanding of what was happening. Appointments in the language of uncertainty. Medical appointments began to enter the picture. At first they felt like simple checkups, routine visits. Yet those white hospital walls and the careful, measured conversations made the days feel heavier, as if time had slowed down. Tests came with explanations that were precise but incomplete, offering probabilities rather than certainties. Each word felt like it carried more weight than usual, and with every passing day, uncertainty quietly settled into their lives, becoming as much a part of the routine as the love and care they shared. Learning to adapt love has a way of adapting in times of uncertainty. Without even realizing it, the family reorganized itself. Schedules shifted, priorities rearranged, and roles formed instinctively. One person managed logistics, another gathered information, and yet another brought lightness and humor into rooms that needed it most. These weren't grand gestures, but small, quiet acts of care that built a structure to hold everyone steady, despite the uncertainty that lay ahead. Each small gesture became a lifeline, a simple, quiet form of care that required no announcement. Hospital corridors and quiet rhythms. Days spent in hospital corridors began to blend together, measured by check-ins, tests, and the quiet sound of doors opening and closing. Conversations were carried out in hushed tones, as if speaking too loudly might disrupt the fragile balance of recovery. Plans were tentative, discussions carefully framed, and the medicine they received became more like maps than destinations. Life adjusted to these new rhythms, with uncertainty becoming both a teacher and a guide, shaping the family's patience and their ability to move forward, even when they couldn't see where they were going. Two worlds at once. Living under the shadow of uncertainty means balancing two realities: the quiet, intimate world of hospital visits and waiting rooms, and the public world outside, where rumors and speculation can move faster than truth. Social media fills with guesses, silence becomes misinterpreted as secrecy, and every statement made seems to be scrutinized. Managing how others perceive the situation becomes an additional layer of responsibility. Privacy, once a given, now feels like a form of protection, preserving the delicate balance between care and the need to shield loved ones from unnecessary worry. When public moments feel fragile, a single photograph or overheard phrase can take on a weight it never carried before. Moments that once would have passed unnoticed are amplified, analyzed, and replayed. Behind the scenes, though, reality is quieter. Fatigue, small victories, careful presence. Each word is chosen not for performance but for protection, to shield loved ones from undue concern, even though protection itself is never guaranteed. These small efforts, whether in public or private, create a safe space, a foundation of stability and trust within the family. The body's quiet truth. Eventually, the body reveals what the mind has been reluctant to acknowledge. Strength doesn't disappear in a dramatic flash. It pauses quietly in surrender. The person who has always been steady begins to feel the limits of their endurance. This moment is not weakness, but the acknowledgement of what is required for recovery, rest, care, and time. Help comes not with fanfare, but simply because it is needed, reminding everyone that support and strength are intertwined, not separate. Redefining the geography of fear. In moments of critical care, perception shifts. The hospital room feels smaller and sounds become sharper. Machines, once unfamiliar, now communicate in rhythms that must be understood. Medical professionals move with calm precision, offering hope, but with no guarantees. Time stretches, bends, and compresses, making everyone realize that fear is not a single overwhelming moment. It is a landscape, one that requires patience, navigation, and respect. Fear, though pervasive, is manageable when seen in smaller, more understandable parts. Holding on through the smallest acts. Love reveals itself in small, tangible gestures, adjusting a blanket, holding a hand, sitting together quietly. These acts may seem minor, but in their simplicity, they offer the greatest reassurance. Presence itself becomes a language of its own, and the quiet constancy of care offers a grounding force, even when the future remains uncertain. In this space, connection is expressed physically as much as emotionally, transforming the household into a sanctuary of safety, warmth, and resilience. The longest hours. Waiting feels like time itself has stretched into something unrecognizable. Every conversation becomes practical. Contingency plans are made, documents reviewed, options weighed. These discussions, though necessary, often feel intrusive. Still, they are part of the process, part of preparing for what comes next. Hope and realism coexist uneasily, each offering context for the other. Patience becomes a constant practice, and careful observation turns into the steady rhythm that keeps everyone moving forward. The subtle arrival of community support often arrives quietly, without fanfare. It comes in the form of messages, meals, and thoughtful gestures, small, unseen acts that offer steadiness when personal footing falters. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers contribute, not for recognition, but simply because they understand the need. This community of care becomes part of the daily rhythm, a silent partner in endurance, proving that no one navigates uncertainty alone. Celebrating small wins recovery is never marked by grand gestures. Progress is often measured in small, incremental steps, a steadier breath, a clearer thought, a laugh that resembles the one from before. These milestones are celebrated quietly with reverence and gratitude. They are protected from pressure or expectation, cherished in their own time. Each improvement offers permission to imagine a future again, to allow hope to take shape in its own natural rhythm. The patience of setbacks. Healing is rarely linear. Hard days come without warning, pain lingers, and fatigue feels endless. Yet each setback teaches patience. The family learns to read the signs, when action is needed, and when simply being present is enough. The rhythm of recovery becomes a lesson in balance, where perseverance is found not only in striving but in resting. Every challenge deepens awareness and strengthens connections, teaching them that healing is as much about presence as it is about progress. Choosing what truly matters. As time passes and routines adjust, clarity begins to emerge. Priorities shift, urgency softens, and attention is focused on what truly matters. Shared meals, quiet conversations, evenings spent together. Life doesn't shrink in these moments, it sharpens. What remains isn't quantity but quality. It isn't movement but presence. These are the things that sustain meaning, even when everything else feels uncertain. Returning. Carefully. Re-entering the outside world happens gradually, like stepping onto solid ground after a storm. Strength is measured differently, expectations adjusted, and authenticity takes the place of performance. The world outside may seem louder, more demanding, but it holds less urgency. What matters most has already been secured within the household: presence, care, and connection.